Hi everyone, welcome to the Footy Girl channel where this girl talks everything football or soccer. So, Happy New Year, or should I say Guten Rutsch? Is that correct? Guten Rutsch. I'm trying my best. I'm trying to replicate whatever I heard on Google Translate, how the robotic woman said it. Anyway, last year I made a set of predictions about the Bundesliga, so I thought it would be fun to review those predictions and see how many of them were right and how many of them were wrong. I mean, honestly, I was pretty wrong in some cases, a few cases. So without any further ado, let's jump into my predictions that I made almost 6 months ago about the first half of the Bundesliga and see how right or how wrong I was. Prediction number 1. BVB, Leverkusen, or Frankfurt will take first place by Christmas. Well, I was way off here considering that BVB is 6th place, Leverkusen is 12th, and Frankfurt is 4th, the closest to the top of the three. Not only is my prediction wrong, the likelihood of any of these teams reaching first place at any time this season seems a bit slim. Of course, Frankfurt is the closest to the top, but they're still 7 points away from Bayern. Even without Neuer and some potential residual World Cup fatigue, Bayern won't be expected to lose at least 2 to 3 games anytime soon. Bayern only lost 5 games last season. With Frankfurt losing 4 games already, Bayern are miles ahead of them and the rest of the pack, really. Prediction number 2. BVB will win the Klassiker and the Revierderby. This prediction was half right. BVB did win the Revierderby, but not the Klassiker. They did get away with a draw against Bayern, though. As for the Rückrunde matches, I think it's highly likely that we'll see identical results, a win and a draw, respectively. Schalke has, once again, found themselves at the bottom of the table. They'll need to do a lot of work and basically have a mindset reset during the winter break in order to win against any team, talk less of BVB. As for BVB, if they repeat the level of effort they put in during the beginning of the season, they can pull off another draw against Bayern or maybe even take 3 points. But like Schalke, BVB need a major mindset overhaul. We all saw the subpar performances many like Schlotterbeck and Zula had during the World Cup, and those two signings as well as Adeyemi and Modeste have frankly been a bit disappointing this season. Interestingly, while they have had their fair share of mistakes in the back this season, Nico Schlotterbeck and Nicolas Zula have actually led a hand offensively with a goal and 2 assists, and a goal and 1 assist, respectively, so far this season. Their compatriot, Adeyemi, hasn't been able to find the back of the net in the Bundesliga with BVB yet, with no goals or assists after 489 minutes played in the league. As for Modeste, he's only scored 2 goals and provided a single assist in 720 minutes. And, of course, a third attacking player, Sébastien Haller, has been on the sidelines recovering from the removal of a cancerous testicular tumor. Given that BVB are 9 points ahead of Bayern, some might argue the title race is all but over already. However, during the 2018-2019 season, BVB was 9 points ahead of Bayern, who turned their season around and won the title. So, can BVB gather the tenacity to overhaul their season like Bayern did almost 4 years ago? We'll see. Even as a BVB fan, though, I have to admit I would be shocked to see it. Prediction number 3. Hertha will lose the Berlin Derby. Hertha lost the Berlin Derby rather convincingly, and even under a new club president, the team has still found themselves hanging onto a place in the Bundesliga, going into the second half of the season at 15th place. Hertha seriously lack firepower in the front, which would give them an edge during those close games. It doesn't help that they've lost Davie Selke during the winter transfer window, who, despite being a bit inconsistent, was a great attacking force for the team. Additionally, they haven't made any major moves during the winter transfer season at the time this video has been filmed. Looks like Hertha might find themselves in a relegation battle during the second half of the season. Prediction number 4. Mainz and Köln will be in European competition spots. I was way off the mark with this one since both teams find themselves in the middle of the table after the first half of the season. In fact, Köln is only a couple of points away from a full-on relegation fight. It doesn't help that Modeste went off to BVB to add attacking power to that team due to the unforeseen cancer battle Sebastian Allier began right before the season begun, as I mentioned before. However, Modeste hasn't been very effective at BVB. Like Hertha, both teams will have to make improvements up front to avoid relegation at the end of the season. Prediction number 5. Augsburg will be fighting relegation. This was probably one of the more random predictions that I made since Augsburg isn't even the first 5 teams one would think of when discussing the Bundesliga. After spending a decade or so in mid-table, as I explained in my original video, Augsburg appears to be continuing the trend this season. However, one could argue they are currently in a relegation battle as they only have a point more than Hertha, who are hovering right above the relegation zone, and Stuttgart, who are just a point off from an instant relegation place. There's still another 18 match days to go though, so the chance that Augsburg will join the relegation fray in earnest is still a possibility. Bonus prediction: Schalke won't be in a relegation spot. Boy, was I wrong here. If you're a Bundesliga fan, you saw Schalke's relegation happen during the 2020-2021 season yourself in real time, but I will summarize. Schalke began the season with loss after loss, and by the time the season was over, they'd gone through 5 coaches. As Tom Hamilton and Steven Uersfield wrote for ESPN.com, the 2020-2021 season was a disaster. 5 different coaches, 41 players fielded, 3 wins, the entire club leadership gone, and fan unhappiness to the point that Schalke supporters chased and attacked the squad after relegation was confirmed in late April. Schalke almost achieved the crown for the team who finished the season with the least wins. As Hamilton and Uersfield wrote for ESPN, by the end of the calendar year, Schalke had won 1 league match in all of 2020, and were closing in on Tasmania Berlin's all-time record of 31 league games without a win. However, they missed being bestowed with this shame by a hair. By the end of the season, they finished in last place and recorded a whopping 24 Bundesliga game losses out of 34 games, and were, of course, relegated for the first time in 31 years. Just look at that negative 61 goal differential. Pretty shocking when you consider that the season before, the 2019-2020 season, Nuremberg was relegated with a negative 42 goal differential. Anyway, Schalke seemingly turned their fortunes around during the 2021-2022 season in the Zweite Liga. In fact, they won the league in first place and were promoted back to the Bundesliga along with Werder Bremen. However, unlike Bremen, who found themselves in 7th place after the first half of the current season, just a step away from a European competition spot, Schalke have yet again landed in a relegation spot, specifically at the bottom of the table in 18th place. They have 9 points, which I suppose isn't too bad when you compare with the 16 points they finished their last Bundesliga season with, right? Regardless, Schalke will need a bit of a miracle at this point to dig themselves out of bottom place, although it isn't impossible as they're currently 5 points behind 15th place. But with their horrible goal differential, they need a few points more than that to truly dig themselves out. Schalke is Germany's 2nd largest team with over 155,000 members. While it would be unprecedented to see such a huge club relegated for a 2nd time in a row from the top flight, there's a high possibility that that will happen to Schalke at the end of the season. So that's it. Hopefully you guys found it fun to see how off I was in the first half, but I do have another video making another set of predictions for the second half of the Bundesliga. No, I am not giving up on my prediction powers. Honestly, I think I was a little more accurate with the EPL prediction. So if you haven't seen my EPL prediction videos, make sure that you check those out. But Anyway, that's it for this one. Make sure that you like, subscribe if you want to see more football analysis videos from me. And also, I am on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So I'll see you there, and I'll see you here next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.